Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Gamer Couple. Today we're going to be showing you 10 pro tips for dominating in creative 1v1s. All of these tips can be used in multiple situations and will help you improve in and out of creative as well. Let's see if we can aim for 1,000 likes on this video, and if you'd like to support us, feel free to use code GAMERCOUPLE in the Fortnite item shop. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Now real quick, we wanted to give a huge thank you to ProGuides for sponsoring this video. They've recently added a full arena course with Benjifish, along with dozens of other courses, custom stat tools, and their new platform, InstaPro. With InstaPro, you can talk to professional coaches at any time. This can be extremely helpful when it comes to improving your core mechanics, game sense, and overall gameplay. If you have under a 3 KD or haven't reached 300 points in arena yet, head over to ProGuides and you'll be there in no time. Coming in at number 10, we have always using cones and floors to make sure you get the edit. Most players will try to stop someone's double ramp with a cone or a floor. This technique is great, but when you try to make the edit, all the enemy has to do is place a floor if you cone them, or a cone if you floored them. Instead, you always want to block your enemy with a floor and cone. If you pyramid and floor your enemy, there is nothing that they can do to stop you from editing onto them. This technique is used like crazy by pros and can make even the best players look completely lost at what to do next. You should also always floor and cone yourself inside of build fights as well. This allows you to always have control of the edits so that someone can't abuse this trick on you. Floor coning yourself and enemies is extremely important if you want to maintain control of the fight. Getting used to this double edit can be really difficult at first, but with some practice the cone and floor combo will feel extremely natural. Coming in at number 9, we have mastering floor and ramp jumps and covering yourself while doing them. The floor and ramp jump is easily one of the most important moves in all of build fights and will allow you to retake high ground on even the best players. The floor and ramp jump is just a classic side jump, but landing on top of the ramp instead of underneath it. This allows you to go up one story extremely fast and can be great for retaking high ground unexpectedly. The only problem with this jump is that you're not covered while doing it. To fix that, we have 2 ways you can cover yourself before the jump. The first is to cone yourself, look way up, and place a wall on the outside of your pyramid. This will allow you to cover yourself before you ever do the jump and allow you to double ramp out of it as well. The second technique is to do the jump but turn around fast and place a wall behind you. This does require very fast movement, but if you practice it, it's pretty easy to do consistently. Both of these cover jumps will give you huge advantages in build fights, and we highly recommend learning them. Coming in at number 8, we have a super overpowered trick that a lot of people forget to use. We all know that audio in Fortnite can be very inconsistent and can cost you a lot of fights when you can't hear where someone is. But this inconsistent audio can actually help you in a ton of build fights. When jumping down from 2 to 3 stories, there's almost no audio when falling down. This allows you to always get a free tag on someone who's below you and not expecting it. This can be used when someone is turtled up, double ramping out, or trying to break your builds. If you know exactly where someone is below you, you can use this trick to drop down quietly and get a free shot. It's not always super easy to track your enemy when they're on the low ground, but if you can track well and wait for the right opportunities, this trick will give you huge advantages in build fights.
Jeez. Oh my god, dude! Dude, you hit me for so much right there.
Coming in at number 7, we have the importance of reverse 90s and directional changes while build fighting. We have all played against the person who just sits on high ground and never wants to give it up no matter what you do. This can be frustrating because it makes retaking high ground so much harder and drags out the fight, forcing you to lose momentum. A really good way to confuse high ground warriors is to do reverse 90s and other directional changing moves. Changing directions a lot forces your opponent to try to keep up with you and guess where you're going to go next. If you master changing directions, it's only a matter of time before your enemy makes a mistake, allowing you to retake the high ground. You can combo changing directions and reverse 90s with side jumps to be even more effective. You can also combo changing directions with things like Thwifo cones to block the enemy as well. Changing directions can be very tricky at first, but with some practice you can feel really confident doing them in every fight. Coming in at number 6, we have getting comfortable with playing the low ground. Sometimes you might be fighting a player who won't give up high ground no matter what you do. This can be frustrating, but it's also super easy to counter and capitalize on this. Being on high ground does have some advantages, but it has tons of disadvantages as well. First, you have to peek way more on high ground to take shots. When peeking over a ramp, you have to expose yourself so much more than someone on the low ground. This allows the person on the low ground to take better peeks and to hit more shots safely. Secondly, people usually spray down from the high ground. This usually results in them standing still, allowing the person on the low ground to line up a high damage shotgun shot. Lastly, when people know they have the high ground while building, they don't usually cover themselves as much. This can allow you to jump to the side and get some shots in without them ever expecting it. High ground is really strong, but people focus way too much on it. If you learn how to master low ground, you can get in some serious peak shots and it can lead to you winning way more fights. Also, learning how to be a good low ground player can help you in being an even better high ground player as well. This is because you'll know exactly what to expect from the person on the low ground, making you a more well-rounded player in general. So if you're someone who focuses on holding high ground, try playing low ground for a bit and you'll see how strong it can be. Coming in at number 5, we have staying up to date with new techniques. Build fights are constantly evolving every single day, and it seems like people are always finding new creative builds, retakes, and different kinds of plays. There's so many amazing new things that you can learn and practice every day so that you don't fall behind. Recently, I've been learning how to demodome people. Demodoming is when you predict exactly where your opponent is going to be ramping up, and then placing a cone in front of them to stop them from ramping. This leaves them completely exposed and allows you to get an easy shot or sometimes even a free kill. Another thing that I've been practicing recently is placing a ramp on top of someone's 1x1 at the same time that they're trying to double ramp out. This allows me to cut the ramp in half and drop down behind them for a super easy shot. There's always something new that you can learn and practice, so don't be afraid to browse Reddit or watch some of the top 1v1 players for some new techniques. Coming in at number 4, we have the element of surprise. Now, some people frown upon going for plays that can result in 50-50 exchanges. But what a lot of people don't realize is that if you catch someone off guard, it isn't really a 50-50 exchange. If you phase into someone's box or make an edit play onto them, you're usually going to catch them off guard. If you're the first to shoot in these situations, you can actually win them most of the time. Now, if an enemy is looking at you or expecting you to edit onto them, don't do it. If you make a play onto somebody who's expecting it, it actually cuts down your chances of winning the fight because you lose the element of surprise. But if you have a lot of momentum and you see a way to get into your opponent's face unexpectedly, don't be afraid to go for the play. If you can catch someone off guard and shoot first, you're going to win most of the exchanges. Don't be afraid to take risks, especially in creative build fights. You can learn a ton from going for plays that you usually wouldn't in regular games. Coming in at number 3, we have baiting people down to you to retake the high ground. Another amazing way to get a high ground warrior back down to a level playing field is to bait them out to coming down to you. There are tons of ways to bait people down to you, but we're going to show you the 2 that we use the most inside of build fights. The first is to box up with an edited pyramid inside. Now edit the top row of one of the walls and place a ramp off the top of your 1x1. Now immediately turn around and edit out of the other wall and jump up with the floor and ramp jump. This will make the enemy think you're going out on one side, but then you jump up one story on the other side for an easy retake. The second baiting technique we do utilizes doors. When editing a door, they give a sound cue when opening that can be great for baiting out an opponent. I personally like to box up, edit 4 doors, open all of them, and ramp out of the last one. This is going to give your enemy 4 different sound cues, forcing them to guess what door you're going to come out of. This allows you to easily confuse the enemy and gives you a way higher chance of retaking the high ground. These are just 2 of the ways that we bait opponents down, but there are dozens of others out there. Just like one of the previous tips, don't be afraid to browse Reddit and to watch people who are amazing at 1v1s for inspiration. Pretending to shoot out a build, fake ramping, and so many other techniques can give you the edge when trying to retake high ground. Coming in at number 2, we have not being afraid to spam pyramids. Pyramids are the most versatile build in the game and allow for tons of options while editing them. Spamming out a few pyramids can be helpful in so many situations, and it doesn't cost you as many materials as you might think. Pyramids reach farther than any other build in the game, and can be used to cone someone or to negate their builds from super far distances. This also applies when trying to catch yourself while falling. Since pyramids can reach so far, they are ideal for branching out and catching yourself after a fall. Spamming pyramids out can catch someone off guard by accident, and just gives you more builds to control during the fight. Pyramids can also be good for blocking someone's side jumps or other retake strategies. Since pyramids are so versatile, don't be afraid to spam a few out. Pyramids can be used as floors, roofs, ramps, and so many other things. So next time you're build fighting, try to get creative with some of the pyramids that you place, and you might be surprised at how effective they can be. Finally, coming in at number 1, we have constantly trying new things and working on your mistakes. When you build fight in creative, it's not the same pressure as playing a regular game. You're allowed to mess up, you're allowed to lose a fight, and then you can get right back into the action with no downtime. This makes them an amazing option for improving quickly or tightening up a new technique that you may have learned. Don't be afraid to take risks and try new things in 1v1s. This will allow you to grow as a player and to never stop learning. Creative 1v1s are also an amazing place for working on your weaknesses. If you're facing a friend who keeps killing you in the same way, Identify exactly what they're doing and then try to counter it next time. If you and a friend continue to counter each other's weak spots, you'll both improve as players insanely fast. I never liked doing 90s to the left, but after only 15 minutes of creative 1v1s, I felt way more confident using them in fights. 1v1s allow you to have so many fights in such a short amount of time. This results in you improving aim, building, game sense, editing, and everything else way faster than you would in public games. Anyway guys, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for this video. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to never miss out on a Fortnite video or live stream. If you want to follow us on socials, all the links are in the description. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.